Alrighty, YouTube, Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. Been a minute, been a little over a month since I made my last video. I got a new job. I've been doing some stuff behind the scenes, but I'm back. I want to start uploading a lot more as we start getting closer to week one. Obviously, training camp started. There's been, 3 days of training camp now. June and July is such a weird timing for the NFL. Really, June, May, and June. Not a lot of news going on, not a lot of things going on around the NFL and with the 49ers. The 49ers were in headlines a lot over the past couple months, with Christian McCaffrey being back at 100%. Jauan Jennings recently in the last couple weeks, which we'll get to this later on in the video, but the Jauan Jennings situation. So again, been busy behind the scenes, but obviously want to come on here and start making videos weekly and almost daily, depending on news and stuff like that. Also trying out a new software for recording. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I think this is going to make everything a lot easier. I'm loving this software that I've got. I've been kind of playing around with it for the past couple hours, just trying to get the setup right. So let me know in the comments down below how this all looks. Also, got a MacBook for my new job. Thought what better way of using the MacBook than to obviously record on it. So let me know how the camera quality looks and stuff like that. Previously, I was using a webcam on my PC. I think this will streamline everything though, using the MacBook, especially if I travel and I'm away. I can, bring the mic, bring everything I need to kind of make videos in a studio scene, if you will. So would like the feedback on this new setup. Let me know how the audio is sounding and everything like that. However, wanted to get into the first topic of the day, and that's just the latest on 49ers training camp. We're going to get into Jauan Jennings and Diamador Lenoir's scuffle a couple days ago during training camp, some of the free agent wide receiver signings that the 49ers had, training camp standouts, and then some injury updates coming out of training camp. So obviously I want to start first with Jauan Jennings. News broke about a week ago that he wanted the 49ers to, one, either sign him, extend him, give him more money, or trade him. I think with Jauan Jennings, what he did last year, being practically having 1,000 receiving yards, he got ejected in the Arizona game late last year. I believe that was the last game of the season. One of the last games of the season, got into that scuffle. They ejected him, and he was like 30 yards away from 1,000 yards on the year. Absurd, whatever. Actually, to the NFL came out and publicly said following that game that Jennings did nothing wrong in that Arizona game. He was not like the instigator, and they should have never ejected him. So sucks for Jennings because, again, he was 30 yards shy of 1,000 yards. Either way, yeah, so Jennings is saying, pay me more money, extend me, or trade me. It seems like the 49ers, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, must have spoken to him to some degree and said, look, show up to training camp, continue doing what you're doing, and the money's going to come. We're working on this behind the scenes. So that's what it sounds like to me currently. Obviously, it's good to have Jennings at training camp present. He could have definitely taken the Brandon Ayuk route and been like, no, I'm not showing up until I get paid. Jennings, though, he doesn't strike me as that type of guy. So Jennings obviously shows up. He's been, participating during training camp. And just a few days ago, this leads me to my next topic. Just a few days ago, Demo and Jennings got into a scuffle where Diamador Lenoir actually threw a punch at Jauan Jennings. Now, going back to Jennings getting ejected last game of the year against the Arizona Cardinals, or one of the last games of the year, seems to me this was exactly the same situation with what happened. So Jennings obviously according to reporters on Twitter, blocked Diamador Lenore pretty well from what it sounds like, but continued kind of after the whistle and went a little overboard on blocking Diamador Lenore. Lenore didn't like that, rightfully so. It's not the type of guy Diamador Lenore is, just to take something like that. And he threw a punch at Jauan Jennings. It led to this little scuffle. Demo was not ejected, which I think from the outside looking in, I see why. He wasn't necessarily in the wrong for what he did. I think Jennings went a little overboard, probably was blocking him after the whistle, and Lenore didn't like it. So he threw a punch at Jauan Jennings. So that happened a couple days ago. Here's the thing. I think Jennings could be frustrated, right? Like, he's waiting to get paid and he's showing up to training camp without a contract extension and without more money. So I get where he's coming from, but I also think too, it's just the type of player Jauan Jennings is. He's competitive. He's fury. So to me, this is a good sign. I like these players showing competitiveness in training camp. If they're not showing competitiveness and there's no scuffles or fights, to me, it doesn't seem like they're actually competing and taking it serious. So I'm glad to see that there's some fire kind of starting throughout 49ers training camp, only 3 days in. But again, nobody was ejected or anything like that. I didn't see where Jennings was ejected from practice. I think they both got to keep practicing and things like that. So I love the aspect of these scuffles. Again, it shows to me that they're being competitive and they're actually trying. So that happened a couple days ago with Jennings and Lenore. And then 49ers also signed a couple free agent wide receivers a couple days ago. First one being Quintez Cephas, the former Detroit Lion. The 49ers signed him to the roster just a couple days ago. And again, more of a depth move, right? Like I think to me, this is the type of deal that, the 49ers probably were looking at the wide receiver room and thinking like, we got to fix something. We got to bring in some more guys. Plus the Jauan Jennings situation, they actually signed both of these guys, Quintez Cephas, and I'll get to the other one, but they signed 2 guys following the news of Jennings wanting an extension or wanting a trade. So they signed Quintez Cephas, former Detroit Lion wide receiver, and then they signed Amon-Ra St. Brown's brother, Emiquius, I think that's how you say his name, St. Brown. They signed him as well, brought him in. He is, of course, the former Bear, Packer, and Saint. He was actually drafted by the Packers in the 6th round in 2018, but signed 1-year deal with the Niners just a few days ago. So they've added some receiver depth as well, which is good. I mean, you never can have enough depth, and I think this was probably a move for them to kind of see how other guys respond to these signings and things like that. You never know what could happen. They could end up cutting these guys. But yeah, they signed Cephas and St. Brown both to 1-year contracts. Moving on here to training camp standouts. So Renardo Green kind of started off a little slow. He's kind of started ramping up over the past couple of days. He broke up 3 passes day 3 of training camp. It's good to kind of see Renardo Green assert himself like he did during his rookie season. Obviously, him and Diamador Lenore are projected to be the starting corners. So I'm excited to see Renardo Green during training camp, and I'm pumped for him to have a pretty good camp to gain momentum going into the year. However, he did get an injury, which we'll talk about later on in this video, but he suffered an injury, but he's been playing well. He has been playing well during the training camp so far. Jair Brown also had a good day 3 of training camp. He had um, a pick 6 against Mac Jones. This was probably the best play of practice the other day. He hasn't really made many plays since he intercepted Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl a year and a half ago. So it's good to kind of see him make one in practice and gain some momentum. So he stood out on day 3. Jalen Graham, the linebacker, nearly intercepted a short pass intended for Jordan James. A few minutes later, he intercepts a similar pass and returned the pick for a touchdown. So um, looks reinvigorated. We need some linebackers this year to step up with the departure of Dre Greenlaw. Obviously, D. Winters has also had a pretty good camp so far as well, but it's good to see some depth guys making plays in training camp. Darrell Luter Jr., he's also been performing well whenever he gets the opportunity to play. So happy for Darrell Luter Jr. And then Jacob Robinson, the rookie out of BYU that they drafted, broke up a pass from Tanner Mordecai that was intended for Jordan Watkins. Robinson smothered him on the play. He legitimately has a good chance of making the 53-man roster, considering how thin the cornerback position is. So I'm pumped for him to see what happens and to see what he can continue to do throughout training camp. So those were some standouts from day 3. Going back to Renardo Green here, he suffered a hamstring injury and might be out for the next couple of weeks, hence to why I just mentioned that Darrell Luter Jr. could potentially take over for Renardo Green in the starting lineup if Green misses extended time. But Renardo appeared to pull his left hamstring after breaking up a long, deep pass intended for Jauan Jennings. He kind of hobbled off the field and did not return. So obviously I'll keep you guys updated on that. We'll see what happens with Renardo Green's injury. But yeah, man, training camp's off to a hot start. We got scuffles. There were some standouts from training camp. Brock Purdy had a great, I think, day 2 or day 3. I believe he completed like 13 of 14 of his passes, got off to a hot start. So always good to see that from Brock Purdy. So again, going to keep pumping videos out as much as I can, covering training camp and news and things like that. So stay tuned. But wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about 49ers training camp and things like that. So let me know what you guys think of this new streaming setup, how you guys are liking the animations where I can kind of, shuffle through all the headlines and move on to subjects where, I have the little, the moving thing here at the bottom. Makes it a lot easier for me to kind of stay on track during videos as well. So I do like that. I do like that feature. So let me know what you guys think about the setup. Again, I'm going to keep pumping videos out as much as I can. So stay tuned. As always, go Niners. I'll see you guys in the next one.